What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And the Philadelphia Phillies, they managed to take the rubber game of this series. They beat the Miami Marlins by a score of 13-6. And I'll give a little nice round of applause for the Phillies there because the offense finally decided to show up for today's ball game. But yes, I am happy about the win. Don't get me wrong. I'm always excited when the Phillies manage to win a ball game, but this win, it comes a little bit bittersweet just knowing that the past two nights, especially last night, where we had a chance to win the ball game, but the bullpen completely just lost it for us, and Friday night where our offense just didn't show up at all, and today just like it felt like that everything that went right for us did go right for us. Like our offense showed up. Jake Arrieta had a solid performance on the mound today, and the bullpen came in and did not shit the bed. They actually came in and did pretty decent today. So I'll give a little round of applause there for the Phillies. So they managed to win this one and take that last match of the series, and they are now at a record of 44-40. I think they're still at least 5.5 or 6 games back at the Atlanta Braves right now. And also I think at least a half game or a game out of the second wild card spot right now. But just right now, just build off this win right now. Just build off this win and move forward because we have a really big series coming up against the Atlanta Braves this week. Going into the All-Star break, we have the Braves from Tuesday to Thursday. Then we have the New York Mets this weekend closing out before the All-Star break starts. So just offensively, everyone in the lineup, they chipped in. Everyone had a little bit in the offensive production today. And a really big game today from players like Bryce Harper, Gene Segura, Brad Miller coming in for Jay Bruce, who had a day off today. JT Realmuto, he had a 2-hit night. Rhys Hoskins, he had a couple RBIs. Even Maikel Franco had a couple RBIs today. Even Jake Arrieta coming in for 3 bats. He gets a 1 base knock and gets 2 RBIs with the bases loaded. And I'll go over that later because that was a really big inning for the Phillies when they really piled it on in this ball game. So, yeah, like I said, Jake Arrieta early on in this game, he really did solid for this ball club. And he goes six strong innings. He gives up 8 hits, allows 4 runs, but he does strike out 6 batters. A little later into this ball game, he had a Marlins start to get to him a little bit, but it's nothing too much to where the Phillies they don't let up. They don't let the Marlins come back into this ball game. They keep piling on the runs so that they have a comfortable lead for once because apparently last night's lead when it was like 6-1, 6-2, it wasn't comfortable enough for us, and the Marlins just came on and scored the 7 unanswered runs to win that ball game last night. So we needed 13 runs on the board to manage to beat the Marlins for once, but I won't get into that. I'll get some positivity from the Phillies win today. So, like I said, Jake Arrieta had a really decent performance on the mound tonight. Hopefully he can build off of this. And then just other players in the lineup. Scott Kingery, he goes 1 for 5. Not really a big offensive night for Scott Kingery, but he does manage to get a hit and he scores a run. Gene Segura, he goes 3 for 4. He was taken out of this ball game later, I think for precautionary reasons because of that collision he had at home plate. So I just think Gabe Kapler just took him out just to let him rest up his body and just make sure he's not like too hurt or anything. And also, yeah, which I do like that out of Gabe Kapler. Just the Phillies had a big lead at that point, so just let's rest him up for the rest of the ball game. And we also have an off day tomorrow, which is really good for him to rest. So just take it as a precautionary reason just to let him heal up his body from that collision. So it doesn't look like it's going to be anything too serious. And then we also have Bryce Harper. He had a really big night. He goes 3 for 4. He has 4 RBIs in this ballgame and also with a big home run late in this ballgame to extend the Phillies' lead even further, which is really good to see out of Bryce Harper, which even though a lot of people say us Philadelphia fans, the reason why we're so mad is because of Bryce Harper, it's not really because of Bryce Harper. We're getting what we should have expected out of Bryce. Not too high of an average. He's around the middle average, around the 240s, the 260 area. He's driving in a ton of RBIs. I think he's on pace to break his RBI total from last year. So he's our best hitter when we have runners in scoring position. It's just that the home run totals aren't there. I think Bryce Harper at this point, he only has, I'd say, I think it's around, he has 15 home runs on the season. I had to look that up for a little bit. I didn't know it off the top of my head. So Bryce Harper, it's just the home run totals aren't there. Like the same thing for Rhys Hoskins. If Bryce Harper would say had around like the 20 to 25 mark at this point, we probably wouldn't be complaining too much. But I think we're getting what we should expect from Bryce Harper coming into this season. So it's really good to see Bryce Harper just coming in and having a really good ball game today, just driving in a lot of those runs. So it's really good to see out of there. Rhys Hoskins, he gets doesn't he goes over 4 on the day, so really not much out of Rhys Hoskins. He does get a sac fly though, so he gets that one RBI. JT Realmuto, like I said, he had a 2-hit ball game today. He was taken out early for Andrew Knapp, so I'm assuming it was just to get Knapp a little bit playing time when the Phillies had that big lead. Then we also have Cesar Hernandez. He has another multiple hit game, goes 3 for 5. Brad Miller goes 2 for 4, coming off replacing Jay Bruce for today, who had the night off. And Brad Miller had a really good ball game today. He rocked a home run to right field in the top of the third inning, laid it in the second deck, and you see the Phillies dugout just like they were all looking back, and you also see Brad Miller just like giving the ball a stare a little bit. So, the addition of Brad Miller has been really good for the Phillies. He has been really solid coming off of the bench for us, and he's been providing some big time hits for this ball club, which it's been a really solid move at this point, bringing Brad Miller for that bench depth, and he has been a really solid piece for us so far. You also get Michael Franco. He goes 2 for 5. He gets an RBI on the day, and just really good offensive production throughout the entire lineup tonight. I really can't complain at all because we put 13 runs on the board and we do get 17 hits. So, not really going to complain from this ball club from the offensive standpoint. And then people in the bullpen that come out, you got JD Hammer. He goes an inning. He allows 2 runs. So, not really solid for him. It was decent. He didn't give up anything deadly. So, really decent performance from JD Hammer. Tommy Hunter, he's been pretty solid in the appearances that he's been through since coming off of injury this weekend. He goes the full inning, he only allows a hit, and he strikes out 3. So having Tommy Hunter back is going to be huge for this bullpen, just adding more depth going down the stretch of the rest of the season. So hopefully he can remain consistent like the way he's been right now. And then we get Garcia. He comes in and just shuts down the ball game. Just closes out the 9th inning, and he gets 2 strikeouts. So even though Garcia really hasn't been one of our strong bullpen relievers coming out of the bullpen, Gabe Kapler has been relying on him a little bit, and it's good to see him just get a solid inning on his hand. So, just really solid offensive performance from the Phillies the entire night, and especially in that 6th inning where just everyone, it felt like we were batting around the lineup and everyone was just chipping into the offense a little bit. You got Brad Miller, he got the RBI single, then Jake Arrieta with the bases loaded, like I said earlier. He gets a little base knock for his own, driving in 2 RBIs. Bryce Harper, he gets a single, which added on to his RBI total. And then there was a wild pitch, which scored Gene Segura. Then Rhys Hoskins got a sac fly. And then also on the Bryce Harper single, there was a little bit of interference from Jorge Alfaro on Jake Arrieta, who came in to score. So they marked it as, I guess, base runner interference or something like that, and they allowed Jake Arrieta to score. So, Phillies were just getting everything going their way in this ball game. Yeah, the Marlins do tack on some runs. They managed to just get to Jake Arrieta a little bit and J.D. Hammer, but it's nothing too much as the Phillies did score 13 runs. So, the Phillies, for once, had a comfortable lead against the Miami Marlins, and they didn't allow them to make a dramatic comeback out of all things like they did yesterday when the bullpen completely just shit the bed. So, a really good ball game from the Philadelphia Phillies today, but it's going to be big going into this week. Like I stated earlier, against the Atlanta Braves, we have the off day tomorrow, so everyone can rest up and get prepared for the Braves series, starting on Tuesday to Thursday. And we got the weekend series against the New York Mets right before the All-Star break. So, this is really huge for the Philadelphia Phillies right now. Last time we played the Atlanta Braves, which was a couple weeks ago, they rocked us. They beat us in 2 ball games out of that last 3-game series. We only managed to win 1. In the last game of that series, they rocked us for a ton of runs on the board, and we didn't really get the offense going in that series. So this is going to be huge for us to get some games back on the Braves in the standings right now, because I think we're at that 5.5 to 6 games back at this point. The Braves and the Mets, they play later tonight at 7 o'clock, so we really don't know how further our deficit will be after that game. So it's probably still going to be around the 5.5 to 6. So we have to wait and see on what the Braves and the Mets do later tonight. So we have, I think it's going to be Nick Pivetta on the mound for Tuesday. So hopefully he can have a solid outing after his previous little misspent against the Mets last time out. So hopefully he can get back into shape, because he's had a couple solid outings coming back from AAA. So yeah, just looking forward to this week because it's going to be a gigantic series against the Braves. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this Marlins series? Even though it's a little bit bittersweet, we do manage to get the last game of the series. But just like, what are your thoughts in general? Like, we all know we probably should have at least taken at least 2 games from the Miami Marlins, but getting 1 game, you just have to build off of that and just move forward. So, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to drop a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, boys. And I will see you in the next video. It's going to be a big week for the Philadelphia Phillies starting on Tuesday.